Conference League ahoy, and is Roberto Zerbi going to be the Chelsea manager?
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yo people, what's happening? How are you doing? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. Manchester United have won the FA Cup, relegating Chelsea to the Conference League. Out of the Europa League, I have done actually a video on that game, that final, on my second channel, Football Yannick. Check it out if you're interested in that. We'll reference it a bit, talk about the Europa Conference League, a little bit on Maatsen, and indeed, Roberto Zerbi. Yes. So strap yourselves in, friends. It's going to be a good one, hopefully insightful or at least interesting from me. Thank you for liking the video to support the content. A millisecond of your life. A feel-good moment for the content creator. Yes, and if you want to subscribe, hit the bell if you choose to. Off the bat, starting, I quickly want to reference Ian Maatsen from Give Me Sport. Chelsea will not entertain selling Ian Maatsen for less than a £35 million buyout clause. They think Dortmund will eventually stump up the cash. Of course, this is after an article of Dortmund gonna try £24 million. I actually think Dortmund's record signing, is it less than 35 million? Would Maatsen be their record signing? I don't know if that's true. Point being, for a defender, for a young fullback, £35 million is a lot of money anyway, right? Like, we got Malo Gusto for what, 20-something, for 24 million, maybe 10 million less? Something like that. So that was a really good deal. It's a lot of money for a fullback, but the truth is, he's versatile, he plays a unique role in that Dortmund side, he inverts to me. He does like what Cucurella is doing at Chelsea. I do think he's still a bit petite to play in the Premier League, but maybe that's me just being a bit like old school. But yes, look, he's in a Champions League final. He is a very talented player, and they could probably sell him for 50 million in a few years plus, because that's how it works, doesn't it? So yeah, hopefully the full buyout clause, pure profit sale of Ian Maatsen. That if he's going to go, let's get the most amount of money we can for him. Surely that's the way we should look at it. Don't call me Shirley. Shout outs to you who know that reference. So we're going to talk about Zerbi in a moment. Chelsea are in the Europa Conference League, and I must say, I'm not mad at it. I've kind of been pretty consistent on this. Look, I don't know the financial ramifications. Of course, there was, those stories going around a couple of months ago about how Chelsea would rather not be in Europe than be in the Conference League because they don't make enough money from the Conference League, and it means they have to abide by the UEFA rules. I'm not sure if that's just nonsense. That was going around the news a lot. We were talking about it. But all that stuff aside, finances aside, it's the one competition we're yet to win. You know, Champions League, we've got 2 of them. Europa Leagues, we've got 2 of them. Conference League, I don't want to always be playing in the Conference League, but let's just get that monkey off our back and get one. Get one, complete the set, become the first team in world football to have officially won it all. Bit shameless, I know, because how often are Real Madrid going to be playing in the Conference League? But still, you know, I'm humble enough to know that we're not Real Madrid and I want a Conference League. Complete the set. Also, it's that kind of mid-season, midweek game where you can truly put your youngsters in. Look, if you're not going to rotate your youngsters into the Conference League as Chelsea Football Club, where we've got a big squad and excellent academy, then, you know, when are you going to? So I'm reading that no teams from the Europa League will drop into the Conference League under the new format. So the teams that are in it are in it. Chelsea will need to play a playoff, two-legged playoff. I think so. Playoff, yeah. We'll have to go do some qualification to get into it. The game, you know, the qualification we have, still you need to qualify in terms of playing football. And if we fail that, then we stink. And to be honest, many people will be like, well, it's not the biggest loss in the world. Honestly, I'm being pretty, philosophical about this. If we are fine financially, genuinely, then parts of me, not big parts, but parts of me would almost prefer the Conference League to the Europa League, provided we're fine financially. Look, I'd be really bummed out if we'd qualified for the Champions League this season and a Manchester Derby FA Cup final relegated us to the Europa League, then I'd be genuinely frustrated, annoyed and disappointed. But, you know, we've never been in the Conference League. Let's have a crack. Yeah, either way, you're not in the Champions League and it's not going to be as illustrious and money-making. So let's play in a European team, you know, play against new teams, and I'm down. I think it's fine. I'm okay with it. Again, I did talk about that game in more detail. Amazing goal from Kobe Mainoo. Very sort of fortuitous goal, but opportunistic from Garnacho. And Man City just didn't have it. Even the goal that they scored by Doku, Onana, 100% should have saved. Massive story over at Man United. Apparently, you know, Ten Hag was already sacked, but we'll see what happens there. The optics aren't looking good now, are they? Ineos / Jim Ratcliffe. 2 seasons for Ten Hag, 2 trophies, and 2 qualification into Europe. And it's not like he's won 2 League Cups. You know, the FA Cup is decent, mate, I think. All right, so Chelsea are in the Conference League. Let me know your thoughts about that down in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you think it's an opportunity to like play the kids and rotate? And it's not like we've lost out on Champions League, and maybe an opportunity to win a trophy, the final trophy that we haven't won in the list. So yeah, let me know in the comments below, and let's move on and talk about the manager. It's the talk of the town, ladies and gentlemen. Sure, Ten Hag might be, but you know he's not been sacked yet. We don't know what's going on with that. The next permanent Chelsea manager. Okay, I'm looking at Odds Checker, which is an aggregation of all the bookmakers, and they have their own means of finding out what's going on. And by a relative landslide now, Roberto De Zerbi is favourite to become Chelsea manager. Enzo Maresca's now dropped to 3-1 with a lot of bookmakers, 5-2, but Roberto De Zerbi on Bet365 is 5-4. Which is heavy favourites. I'm sure maybe as hours go by that will be odds on. So, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of talk about De Zerbi becoming Chelsea manager. So let's talk about this. It was spoken that the deal has already been a compensation paid to Brian. He's already agreed. Of course, we've known he's been leaving for a while, and some people have speculated that can't have been Chelsea, including myself, because you know the news story is we're looking at everyone else. But maybe they've been very clever. Well, say clever, hush about it. I don't know why they'd need to be, what they're waiting for, because he doesn't work for Brighton anymore. It's not weird. It's not like we were waiting for an FA Cup final. But there's a lot of noise regarding Roberto De Zerbi. So, I'm going to remain consistent. He's not someone I like and I've wanted, but I'll also remain consistent in saying any manager that takes the helm at Chelsea, I will give them my, wholehearted support, because I've always backed the managers generally. I try to. And I said in recent videos as well, even though even when I've sort of stated I'm not really interested in De Zerbi, I've always played devil's advocate against my own opinion, saying a few things which I will reiterate now. When he was afforded a good midfield, of course, McAllister and Caicedo, he massively overachieved with Brighton getting a top 6 finish. And he ultimately got the best out of Moises Caicedo to the point where even Liverpool were bidding over £110 million for him. So, yes, when he's got the players, he can do well. We're going to go for the cons after the pros. So there's that. There's the pros of also working with previous players like Levi Colwill. Levi Colwill played excellent under Roberto De Zerbi at Brighton. Again, to reference Liverpool, to the point where you had Jurgen Klopp on the blower, and I had on good authority Liverpool were willing to throw the bag for Levi Colwill, genuinely, to be the long-term successor to Virgil van Dijk. I'm not saying Colwill's been terrible at Chelsea. Of course, he's been played out of position at times, but also looked good at times. But he really likes Levi Colwill as well. So he loves Caicedo, he loves Levi Colwill, and do you know who else he loves? You've probably guessed it by now. He absolutely adores Mykhailo Mudryk. Of course, a player that's not really performing for Chelsea so far, that Chelsea spent a lot of money on. Of course, it was £60 million up front for Mudryk, which is a lot, but they really wanted it to work. And I think the the plans with Mudryk and the designs are very, very big. Now, you've probably seen that video clip of, you've probably seen the photo, firstly, of Zerbi with his hands around Mudryk's face when they played us the season before last. You know, of course, he joined in January. We played Brighton, and they sort of had this embrace, and they were beaming at each other. So they clearly have a very, very fond of each other. But in a press conference as Brighton manager, Roberto De Zerbi said, with his chest, Mikhailo Mudryk can win the Ballon d'Or. He said it twice, and he says, yeah, I know that's a thing, but he can win the Ballon d'Or. He just needs to figure out, he needs to get it out of him. Fair play, man. I know it's been reported that Mudryk himself wants to win the Ballon d'Or. And, you know, he's a far way off, you know, and he's 22, so he's not that young. You know, think of like where, you know, Mbappe was at 22 winning World Cups and league titles, and, you know, he wasn't near the Ballon d'Or. So obviously he's got time still, you know, he's probably got a decade to try. And look, while we're on Mudryk briefly, I want to be fair to him. This kid has got immense raw materials to be, I don't know how good. Like, he can dribble, he can hit the ball really hard, he can run incredibly fast. Those things are very good for Premier League for top level football. I do, maintain the position that many have, that he's severely undercoached. And look, if De Zerbi, the Mr. he can win the Ballon d'Or, thinks he can get it out of him, Godspeed. So look, there's the players. There's Caicedo, Mudryk, Levi. And he did do well when he had the players, getting them to sixth. Now, he left Brighton. And bearing in mind, last season at Brighton, City fans were even going, oh, maybe he could replace Pep. But he left Brighton because he didn't align with Tony Bloom in terms of just their model. Kind of Pochettino leaving Chelsea, you know, because they sign up knowing what the job is, and then they do well. Pochettino didn't do that well, I must say, in the end. I mean, well, now that we're Conference League level, because ultimately we can blame Man United, but we had designs to be further up in the table. But yeah, De Zerbi's like similar, like, I've done really well, let me do what I want now. And they're like, no, this is the job. This is the job you signed up for. Now, he would essentially be signing up for the same-ish structure at Chelsea, but he would probably be thinking, well, I've got Caicedo, they're not going to sell him. I've got good players. Basically, no matter what happens with Chelsea, even if they want to sell Conor, he'll be like looking at that Chelsea squad and be like, all right, you can sell Gallagher if you want. I've got still got these amazing players that are a lot better than this Brighton side who have just sold Caicedo and McAllister. Do you know what I mean? Like, this just completely different stratospheres. So the cons are, they did finish 10th for the season. They get slapped up quite a lot. He lost to Pochettino 4 times, I said it earlier. And also, when they play well, but they've been like touched up this season. And also, he's a really combustible character, Roberto De Zerbi. And from what we're understanding and what we're reading in the reports is they want this like agreeable, amicable guy who's going to go with their system. You know, we got Ben Jacobs saying the new coach is going to get a much bigger deal than Pochettino got in terms of length of contract. It's really tough because he gets loads of bookings on the touchline. Look, Chelsea will probably like that. Look, the Chelsea fans will like the fact how he's passionate. He'll definitely create more of a connection with the Chelsea fans than Pochettino did, or Sarri, or Benitez, right? He will, and that will be a massive tick for the Chelsea ownership, right? He'll connect with the fans, and he will get stuck in and be angry and get bookings and get touchline bans, and because that's what he does. And the Chelsea fans will like that because they'll see a bit of passion and the theatre, and that's what they want, And I kind of dig it. I get it, I mean, fine. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what to say, because all of these managerial candidates, I've always been like, yeah, I don't know, Kieran McKenna's done amazing stuff. Could he be great? And Mareshka, disciple of Guardiola, heavily possession football, should be less like heart attack games. Do you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. Thomas Frank I never really got interested in. Amorim was like the heavy fan favourite across social media. This young sort of Portuguese, dare I say, Mourinho-esque kind of character, like dark and like quite good looking. Do you remember when Mourinho came to the Premier League and was like, oh, who's this like serious Portuguese handsome devil who's a good manager? So people are probably thinking like, oh yes, have a bit more of that. Do you know what I mean? But De Zerbi's showing he can do well in the Premier League at times. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's tough. The managerial market's tough. You know, Company, I hate to use this as a barometer for the 1000th time, but Company is the Bayern Munich manager. This is where we are. So maybe, you know, we got ourselves in this position. Maybe we deserve it. Yeah, I did that. Guys, let me know what you think, please. Loads of people want Roberto De Zerbi. I've put my reservations out there, but like I said, if he's the new gaffer, he will have my backing. Let me know what you think, please. Comment down below. Let's get the collective opinion of you level-headed Chelsea fans, and we will go from there. Of course, keep it locked. As the story develops, I'll bring you the updates as they happen, so make sure you turn on the bell when you subscribe. In the meantime, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you back here soon, hopefully. Peace.